guys, welcome back to the Silly Channel. Chilly Willy here, aka the Yellow Foxbody Guy. Today I'm going to do an opinion piece because I did one a couple years back on Foxbody pros and cons, and that thing it's like my fourth most watched video, and I don't know why. It's just very interesting that an opinion piece did that. But I'm doing an opinion piece because I can't go to shows right now. I can't be up and about a lot because I had a bulging disc in my back, and it was pressing on a nerve, and it would make, anytime I stood up, this leg right here would go numb and feel like it was catching on fire right there on that ham. So we ain't standing up a whole lot. It's doing good though. The worst is over. The chiropractor told me she hoped she didn't have to see me anymore. She said, if you'll behave and be safe, be careful, shouldn't have to see you anymore. And she told me Merry Christmas. She said, I hope I don't see you before Christmas. And I hope so too, because I went 6 times in about 7 days, because we were trying to get my back relearned to stay straight. But it's over. The worst part is over. I can now stand up and not die, and that feels good. But anyway, this opinion piece is what car is best for you. And I have got 3 categories. We call it the coupe, the hatchback, and the convertible. The coupe weighs 2,880 pounds, give or take, from the factory. You can go to yellowfoxbodyguy.com and look at all these facts. I have every year of sales literature for all the Foxbody Mustangs, and I've got a couple other ones, Capris, and some other stuff there. And it's all the factory literature right there. You can read it, find out stuff. But that coupe weighed 2,880. The hatchback weighs about 3,000. My convertible weighed 3,220, and they said 3,200 is what the factory specs were, and it was 3,220 with about 3 gallons of gas in it, which is 24 pounds. So yeah, they were about right on with that, and that's pretty much a factory car weight-wise. Got that extra spoiler on the back, probably weighs another 10 pounds. I've got a hitch and subframe connectors, a few odd ends, but anyway, none of that. Which one should you choose? If you're a racer, I would go with a coupe, because a coupe is stronger. It is the lightest from the factory, and you can lighten it up even more. The hatchback's not going to twist as much. That convertible is going to flex like crazy. Unless you got Racing Jason's car with all the roll bars and all the stuff holding that thing still, that's going to be the most flexible. That is the least desirable for racing, in my opinion. For driving, daily driver, any of them are fine. It depends on where you live, in my opinion. If you live up north, a convertible is probably not for you, because you're not going to enjoy it but about 1 or 2 months a year. I get to enjoy that because I'm here in North Carolina. I get to enjoy that car about 9 months out of the year. It's 72 degrees right now as I film this, and it's December 4th, I think. So, yeah, go figure. So that car right there is good for the south, the convertible. The hatchback is fine. T-top car. T-top cars are really cool because you can do, basically year-round. You can keep top on, keep the tops in. But for daily driving, I like, I think all of them equal tie. Just depends on your weather based on that, so. The Experience, top down is the only way to go, in my opinion. A top down convertible car is far more fun. That and T-top. T-top would be fun because that's still an open air car, but it's a little bit stronger, and it doesn't have 4 motors, hydraulics, and all that. We'll get to that later. On a road trip, I would say the hatchback is the winner because it has the most space in the back. You've got that entire cargo area, which is way bigger than a coupe's trunk, or definitely way bigger than the convertible. That's basically a coupe, and then they took a whole section out to put motor and where the top can fold down into, so you lose all kinds there. That's why you got to do a hitch like I did, and used it this year for Myrtle Beach. First time I used it to go to Mustang Week, and it was the greatest thing ever, because 4 head of us went there, and there was nothing piled in top on us in the car. So for road trips, the hatchback is going to be the way to go. If that's what you plan on doing with it, who buys one for a road trip, I don't know, but I threw it in there anyway. For show cars, they're all about the same. If you're looking at a nice show car, chances are you're going to find a convertible in better shape, because convertibles are most of the time kept inside so they don't get rained on and the top doesn't go bad as quick. There's still plenty of good hatchbacks out there, and they all clean up just the same. It depends on how much time you want to take on cleaning a car up, on which one will be the best show car. I know the Notch movement on Facebook anyway shows that they are the most sought after, but they're third party. I think they're selling, probably moving or trying to move more in the person-to-person sales versus dealer or big auction sale. There are no coupes running through the big auction houses because there's hardly any coupes that are still factory. There's the mini blue one that was at Mustang Week. I think Gearhead did a Gearhead 704. He did a a video on that car. I'd love to see what that car would bring it at factory. I think it would do really well. I know the last Foxbody built happened to be a white coupe, and it sold for about 23 or 4. So, yeah, there's just not as many coupes out there. So, but show car wise, it doesn't matter. They're all going to be about the same. Cost up front. Getting into a Foxbody, what are you willing to spend to get into it? Do you want one done? If you don't have any mechanical inclination to you don't know how to work on cars, you probably don't need to buy a Foxbody first and foremost. That would be the warning. If you do, then this is a fun car. They're not hard to work on. I was scared of fuel injection when it came out, and I can actually probably work on the 86 on all that and problem solve quicker than I can the carburetor car. So, that's just something you got to think of. But upfront cost, like I said, a finished coupe is going to cost you a little more. You can probably find a 4-cylinder for decently cheap. Down here, I would say a running 4-cylinder runs about $3,500 to $5,000, depending on the paint and the shape. You can get them running, just running cars, that you got to do a lot of work to for $2,500. The convertibles, upfront cost, you can get them dirt cheap too. Convertibles are a dime a dozen in the South. I ain't gonna say they are up north. Now, if you want one finished, depending on what you want a low mile car, you're gonna pay. You're gonna pay for the lower the miles are. You're just gonna pay for that. Hatchbacks, they're probably the cheapest one to get into just because they made so many of them, and the demand for them is, it's not hard to find a hatchback for sale. Saw one this morning for $1,500. All it needed was an engine. You can get an engine $500. So for $2,500, you can be driving around the hatchback. That probably looks decent. That'll probably get a few people some good conversation starters at a show. So upfront costs, I think a hatchback wins just because it's going to be cheapest. Convertibles are right there with it, and then the coupes are right there behind them. Third party. If you're looking to buy a collectability car, which is my next category, collectability, coupe is not, they're not bringing, I think a bone stock one like the Bimini Blue one from Mustang Week, that'll bring big money, and the factory cars will bring big money, but collectability wise, the special edition cars, in the convertible world, we'll start there. I got a squirrel trying to attack me or something. But in the convertible world, the feature cars, the red, the white, the yellow, the 7-Up car, those cars do really good low mileage. If they've got low mileage, the 7-Up car brought $60-some thousand the other year at one of the shows. I think it was Barrett Jackson. So yeah, those cars do really well. If you can find you a low mileage feature car and you're a collector and you just want to turn a profit on it, that will be the way to go. Hatchback wise, I would look for an old Twister car, some of the one-off, maybe a couple hundred of each car runs. The Twister cars, there weren't a whole bunch of those. I'm not sure exact numbers. I think there was a Predator version might have been out there. The Salines do really well. If you can afford a Saline up front, it's not the cheapest. A regular hatchback is going to be cheapest, but for collectability, a Saline does pretty well. I had a chance to get the yellow Saline that was at Foxtoberfest. Picture right there. Had a chance to get this car for $17,500 about 2.5 years ago. And I was looking at it and I was like, and it just weren't financially, just weren't the right season for me. The guy now wants $24,000 for it. The guy who bought it from the guy who sold it for $17,000 give or take, he wants $24,000 for that car. Firm, he says. And that's the way it's gone. The last few years they have really, the factory cars, that car was not yellow from the factory, that was a gray car from the factory, but it's still a beautiful car. The yellow piping on the inside, that car is gorgeous to me. I'm just a yellow guy, But look for your T-top car. If you're looking for collectability, if you can find a clean T-top car that is unmolested, I would go there. That would be the way to go. That's why I bought this car. I bought this car in case I ever decide to sell it. If my heart don't ever get into it, my heart's in that one. There's no doubt. I've had it 29 years. But if I don't ever get super attached to this car can always be for sale. And my goal is to always be able to sell it for about what I've got in it. I'll lose money on the time it took me to do whatever, or to at least sell it for a little bit more than what I got in it. But collectability wise, I know this car is always going to be worth something just because it's a T-top car, and those are rarer numbers now than what they used to be. In the coupe world, the SSP, the special service car, police car, that car, they bring good money. And the Saline coupes, good luck getting one of those. There's only 59 or 60 of them made. The numbers are still iffy. The guy I talked to, he at Foxtoberfest, he's got the red one. Here's a picture of that. Saline coupe, yes, they did make 59 of them. Saline said the aerodynamics coming off of the back glass, I watched a video with him talking about it, he says on the coupe it swirled and it disrupted itself. It would swirl back on itself and disrupt the airflow going down on the wing, and that wing's there to hold that rear end down because he was a road course racer, right? So if you can find a Saline coupe or a T-top coupe, they do exist. They were all pretty much special orders. Ford didn't say, hey, let's make a bunch of T-top coupes, because but they're cool. They look really good to me. That's what you're going to want to buy, is either a Saline coupe, T-top coupe, or SSP car. If you're looking something collectible, or if you can find a bone stock coupe, they're hard to find because most of them are now race cars or crunchified and are now paper clips somewhere. Get one, but it's easiest to find the hatchbacks. There's a buku of those, and the convertibles. They still a lot of those out there. People are taking care of those convertibles. And the last thing is mechanical wise. What should you buy if you are not a mechanic? Don't buy a convertible, because you got extra windows, extra window guides, extra top, motors, cylinders, lines, stuff that go there. That's going to be the hardest one to work on as far as everything on the car. The next closest down, the T-top, I mean not the T-top, but the hatchback and the coupe, they both do have about the same amount of parts in them. And nothing on these cars is really hard to work on if you're mechanically inclined. I've learned as I go. I love YouTube for that. Talking with Fox guys, you know, I've only had to send that car out twice to a mechanic other than me and my dad. And once was rebuild a transmission, a little bit more stout than what it should be. And the other time was when it wouldn't run after 15 years, and it ended up being the map sensor and a few odd and end vacuum leaks that I just didn't know how to diagnose. So there you go. That's my opinions. It depends on what you want. If you want to collect a car, get you something that's low number, doesn't matter which one of those it is. The cheapest ones are going to probably be GTs, bone stock, LX's bone stock, something in that range. Or if you can find a good convertible, you can run across a deal. They're still out there. But that's, you know, that's how it is. If cost is an issue, hatchback's probably going to be your way to go. There's so many of them still left out there. Show cars and road tripping and doing all that. Like I say, the coupes. Depends on what you want to do with the car, on which car is best for you. But for me, top down, Myrtle Beach, riding the strip, Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge, all the big cruising places where there's a cruising strip that's still legal to cruise on, that convertible right there is the best, because you get to see everything, you get to smell, you get to hear, you get all the wonderful things. I think the T-top car would be my next favorite. And I haven't really experienced a bunch of joy in that T-top car yet, but I have rode in T-top cars back in the day, so that's no biggie. But once we get that one on the road here in a little while, that's going to be fun, because I get kind of the best of both worlds. I don't have a convertible and don't have all that stuff to worry about, tops and all that, but I get to enjoy some open air anyway, get the sun shining down, so that's going to be fun. But there it is. What car is best for you? Depends on what you want to do with it. You know, that's all I can say. I appreciate everybody who watches my channel. God bless you all. Keep praying for my leg, my back. I'm doing way better than I've been doing, so I'm getting there, y'all. We're gonna see y'all at some car shows soon, hopefully. And God bless you all. Peace.